Hello students, today I am going to introduce you some elementary protocols from the data link control layer. We know that data communication requires at least two devices working together, one to send the information and other to receive the information. The flow control mechanism coordinates the amount of data that can be sent before receiving an acknowledgement, and it is the one of the most important duties of the data link layer. In most protocols, flow control is a set of procedures that tells the sender how much data it can transmit before it must wait for an acknowledgement from the receiver. The flow of data must not be allowed to overflow the receiver. Any receiving device has a limited speed at which it can process incoming data and limited amount of memory in which it can store the data. Then such receiving devices must be able to inform the sending device to slow the transmission of the frames or stop the transmission temporarily. Incoming data must be checked and processed before then can be used. The rate of processing is often slower than the rate of transmission, and for this reason every receiving device has a block of memory called as buffer. And these buffers are reserved for storing the incoming data until data is get processed. If the buffer begins to fill up, the receiver must be able to tell the sender to halt the transmission until it is once again able to receive. The error control mechanism includes both error detection and error correction. It allows the receiver to inform the sender of any frames lost or damaged in the transmission and coordinate the retransmission of damaged frames. In the data link layer, the term error control refers primarily to the methods of error detection and retransmission. Error control in the data link layer is often implemented in simpler manner. Anytime an error is detected, then specified frames are retransmitted. This process is called automatic repeat request, that is ARQ. Now let us see how the data link layer can combine framing, flow control, error control mechanisms to achieve the delivery of data from one node to the another. The protocols are normally implemented in the software by using one of the common programming languages. This figure shows the classification of the protocols. Protocols are classified as a protocols for noiseless channels and protocols for noisy channels. Examples are for noiseless channels, simplest protocol, stop and wait protocol. And for noisy channels, examples of the protocol, stop and wait, ARQ technique, go back in ARQ and selective repeat ARQ. Many protocols are unidirectional one. They are using the two types of acknowledgement frames, that is positive acknowledgement and negative acknowledgement. In real life, some protocols are bidirectional one. Again, these protocols uses the two types of acknowledgement, positive acknowledgements and negative acknowledgement. But here, these protocols uses, that is the real life protocol uses the mechanism called as piggybacking for sending the acknowledgements of the frames. Bidirectional protocols are somewhat more complex than the unidirectional one, definitely. Now we will start our discussion with some simplest protocol, which for the noiseless channel. Let us assume we have an ideal channel in which no frames are lost, no frames are duplicated or corrupted. We introduce two protocols of this type of channel. The first protocol that does not use flow control and error control mechanisms, and second is that uses flow control and error control mechanism. First, we will see simplest protocol. This is our first protocol, which we call this protocol as a simplest protocol with no flow or error control. It is a unidirectional protocol in which data frames are traveling only in one direction, that is from sender to receiver. We assume that receiver can immediately handle any frame it receives. A processing time that is small enough that is negligible. The data link layer of the receiver immediately removes the header from the frame and sends the packet to the network layer. Network layer also accepts the packet immediately. The design scheme is shown in the figure. There is no need for flow control in the simplest protocol. The data link layer at the sender side gets the data from the network layer. It converts into frame and sends out to the receiver. Then the data link layer at the receiver side receives the frame from its physical layer, extracts the data from the frame and delivers that data to its network layer. The data link layers of sender and receiver provide transmission services for their network layers. The data link layers uses the services provided by their physical layers. From this figure, we can able to make some conclusions. The sender side cannot send a frame until its network layer has a data or packet to send. The sender side cannot deliver the data packet to its network layer until frame arrives. If the protocol is implemented as a procedure, we need to introduce the idea of events in the protocol. The procedure at the sender side is constantly running. There is no action until there is a request from the network layer, and there is no action until the notification from the physical layer. Both procedures are constantly running because they do not know when the corresponding events will occur. Then we will see algorithm. This is the sender side algorithm for simplest protocol. The algorithm has an infinite loop, which means lines 3 to 9 are repeated forever once the program starts. The algorithm is an event driven one, which means that it sleeps, that is line 3, until an event wakes it up, that is line 4. This means that there may be an undefined span of time between the execution of line 3 and line 4. There is a gap between these actions. When the event or request from a network layer occurs, line number 6 to 8 are executed. The program then repeats the loop and again sleeps at line 3 until the next occurrence of the event. Then, this is the receiver side algorithm for the simplest protocol. This algorithm has the same format as the format of the previous algorithm, except that the direction of the frames and the data is upward. The event here is the arrival of data frame. After the event occurs, the data link layer receives the frame from the physical layer using the receive frame process. Extracts the data from the frame using extract data process and delivers data to the network layer using deliver data process. Here, we also have a event driven algorithm because the algorithm never knows when the data frame will arrive. Then, this is the example. This figure this figure shows an example of communication using this protocol. It is very simple. The sender sends the sequence of frames without even thinking about the receiver. To send 3 frames, 3 events occurs at the sender side and 3 events occurs at the receiver side. Note that the data frames are shown by tilted boxes. The height of the box defines the transmission time difference between the first bit and last bit in the frame. Then we'll discuss about stop and wait protocol. If the data frames arrive at the receiver side faster than they can be processed, the frames must be stored until their use. Normally, the receiver does not have enough storage space, especially if it is receiving data from many resources. This may result in either the discarding of frames or denial of the service. To prevent the receiver from becoming overflow with frames, we somehow need to tell the sender to slow down. There must be a feedback from the receiver to the sender to do this task. The protocol here we discuss now is called as stop and wait protocol because the sender sends one frame, stops until it receives the confirmation from the receiver, and then sends the next frame. We still have a unidirectional communication for data frames, but auxiliary acknowledgement frames travels in other direction. We add flow control to our previous protocol now. Then design. This figure illustrates the design mechanism. We can see the traffic on the forward channel and the reverse channel. At any time, there is either one data frame on the forward channel or one acknowledgement frame on the reverse channel. We therefore need a half duplex link. So this is the sender side algorithm for stop and wait protocol. Here, two events can occur. A request from the network layer or an arrival notification from the physical layer. The responses to these events must alternate. In other words, after a frame is sent, the algorithm must ignore another network layer request until that frame is acknowledged. We know that two arrival events cannot happen one after another because the channel is error free and does not duplicate the frames. The request from the network layer, however, may happen one after another without an arrival event in between. We need somehow to prevent the immediate sending of the data frame. Although there are several methods, we have used a simple can send variable that can either be true or false. When a frame is sent, the variable is set to false to indicate that a new network request cannot be sent until can send is true. When an acknowledgement is received, can send is set to true to allow the sending of the next frame. Then this is the algorithm, that is receiver side algorithm for stop and wait protocol. This is very similar to that of the previous algorithm. There is only one exception. After the data frame arrives, the receiver sends an acknowledgement frame, that is line 9, to acknowledge the receipt and allow the sender to send the next frame. Then we will see example here. This figure shows an example of communication using this protocol. It is still very simple. The sender sends one frame and waits for feedback from the receiver. When the acknowledgement arrives, the sender sends the next frame. Note that sending two frames in the protocol involves the sender in 4 events and the receiver in two events only. Then we will consider protocols for noisy channel. In this section, we discuss the protocol that uses the error control. And example of this protocol is stop and wait ARQ protocol. The design of the stop and wait ARQ protocol is shown in this figure. To detect and correct corrupted frames, we need to add redundancy bits to our data frame. When frame arrives at the receiver side, it is checked, and if it is corrupted, it is silently discarded, or it is not received by the receiver. The detection of errors in this protocol is manifested by the silence of the receiver. Lost frames are most difficult to handle than corrupted ones. In our previous protocols, there was no way to identify a frame. The received frame could be the correct one or duplicate or frame out of order. The solution to this problem is to assign the numbers to the frames. When the receiver receives a data frame that is out of order, this means that frames were either lost or duplicated. The lost frames need to be resent in this protocol. If the receiver does not respond, then there is an error. How can the sender know which frame to resend? The remedy to this problem, the sender keeps copy of the sent frame. At the same time, it starts the timer. If the timer expires and there is no acknowledgement for the sent frame, the frame is resent. The copy is held and the timer is restarted. Since the protocol uses the stop and wait mechanism, there is only one specific frame that needs an acknowledgement, even though several copies of the frame can be in the network. Since an ACK frame can also be corrupted and lost, it too needs redundancy bits and a sequence number. The acknowledgement frame for this protocol has a sequence number field. In this protocol, the sender simply discards the corrupted acknowledgement frame or ignores out of order frame. Then sequence numbers. The protocol specifies the frames need to be numbered. This is done by using sequence numbers. A field is added to the data frame to hold the sequence number of that frame. One important consideration is the range of sequence numbers. Since we want to minimize the frame size, we look for the smallest range that provides the unambiguous communication. The sequence number, of course, can warp around. For example, if we decide that the field is m bits long, the sequence number starts from 0 to 2 raised to m minus 1, and then numbers are repeated. Assume we have used x as a sequence number. We only need to use x plus 1 after that. There is no need for x plus 2. Again, we assume the sender has sent the frame numbered x. The three things can happen here. The frame arrives safe at the receiver side. The receiver sends an acknowledgement. The acknowledgement arrives at the sender side, causing the sender to send the next frame that is numbered x plus 1. The frame arrives safely at the receiver side. The receiver sends an acknowledgement, but acknowledgement is corrupted or lost. The sender resends the frame after the timeout. Note that the frame here is a duplicate frame. The receiver can recognize this fact because it expects the frame x plus 1, but frame X was received. The frame is corrupted or never arrives at the receiver side. The sender resends the frame numbered X after timeout. So here we can see that there is a need for sequence number X and X plus 1 because receiver needs to distinguish between case 1 and case 2 here. But there is no need for the frame to be numbered X plus 2. Since then acknowledgement numbers, since the sequence numbers must be suitable for both data frames as well as acknowledgement frames, we use this convention. The acknowledgement numbers always announce the sequence number of the next frame expected by the receiver. For example, if frame 0 has arrived safe at the receiver, it sends the ACK frame with acknowledgement number 1, and here number 1 indicates that this frame is the next expected frame by the receiver and it has received the frame number 0 safely. Then design of the protocol. This figure shows the actual design of stop and wait ARQ protocol. The sending device keeps a copy of last frame transmitted until it receives the acknowledgement for that frame. A data frame uses sequence number SEQNO, that is sequence number, and acknowledgement frame uses the acknowledgement number. The sender has a control variable which we call SN, that is send next frame, that holds the sequence number for the next frame to be sent. The receiver has a control variable which we call RN, that holds the number of the next frame expected. When the frame is sent, the value of SN is incremented, which means that if it is 0, it becomes 1 and vice versa. When a frame is received, the value of RN is incremented, which means that if it is 0, it becomes 1 and vice versa. 3 events can happen at the sender side. 1 event can happen at the receiver side. Variable SN points to the slot that matches the sequence number of the frame that has been sent but not acknowledged. RN points to the slot that matches the sequence number of the next expected frame. So this is the sender side algorithm for stop and wait ARQ. We first notice the presence of SCN, the sequence number of the next frame to be sent. The variable is initialized once, line number 1 in the program, but it is incremented every time frame is sent, that is line number 13. It is incremented every time a frame is sent in preparation for the next frame. However, since this is modulo 2 arithmetic, the sequence numbers are 0, 1, 0, 1 and so on. Note that the processes in the first event, that is send frame, store frame, purge frame, use an SN defining the frame sent out. We need at least one buffer to hold this frame until we are sure that it is received safely. Line 10 shows, in the algorithm, line 10 shows that before the frame is sent, it is stored. The copy is used for resending a corrupted or lost frame. We are still using the can send variable to prevent the network layer from making a request before the previous frame is received safely. If the frame is not corrupted and the acknowledgement number of the ACK frame matches the sequence number of the next frame to send, we stop the timer and purge the copy of the data frame we saved. Otherwise, we just ignore this event and wait for the next event to happen. After each frame is sent, a timer is started. When the timer expires, that is line number 28 here, the frame is resent and the timer is restarted. Then, this is the receiver side algorithm for stop and wait ARQ protocol. This algorithm is somewhat different than the previous algorithm. All arrived data frames that are corrupted are ignored. If the sequence number of the frame is one that is the expected, suppose Aryan, the frame is accepted, the data are delivered to the network layer and the value of Aryan is incremented. However, there is one point here. Even if the sequence number of the data frame does not match the next frame accepted, the acknowledgement is sent to the sender. This acknowledgement just reconfirms the previous acknowledgement instead of confirming the frame received. This is done because the receiver assumed that the previous acknowledgement might have been lost. The receiver is sending the duplicate frame here, and the resend acknowledgement may also solve the problem before the timeout happens. Then we'll see one example. This is the figure. This figure shows the example of stop and wait ARQ protocol. Frame 0 is sent and acknowledged. Then frame 1 is lost and resent after the timeout. The resent frame 1 is acknowledged and timer stops. Then frame 0 is sent and acknowledged. The next event is the acknowledgement is lost. The sender has no idea if the frame or acknowledgement is lost. So after the timeout, it resends the frame 0, which is acknowledged. Then we will discuss about efficiency of this protocol. The stop and wait ARQ protocol is very inefficient if channel is thick and long. What is meant by thick channel? Thick channel means the channel having the larger bandwidth, and long channel means the channel over which the round trip delay is long. The product of these two is called as bandwidth delay product. We can think of channel as a pipe. The bandwidth delay product then is the volume of the pipe in bits. The pipe is always there. If we do not use it, we are inefficient. The bandwidth delay product is a measure of number of bits we can send out of our system while waiting for news from the receiver. Then we will take one example. Assume that in a stop and wait protocol, or in a stop and wait ARQ system, the bandwidth of the line is 1 Mbps and one bit takes 20 milliseconds to make a round trip. What is the bandwidth delay product? If the system data frames are 1000 bits in length, what is the utilization percentage of the link? This is the example. Here, solution is like this. The bandwidth delay product, bandwidth you can take here 1 Mbps, that is 1 into 10 raised to 6, delay 20 millisecond, that is 20 into 10 raised to minus 3, that is 20,000 bits is the bandwidth delay product. The system can send 20,000 bits during the time it takes for the data to go from sender to the receiver and then back again. However, the system sends only 1000 bits. Is here actually the system can send 20,000 bits during the time it takes for the data to go from sender to receiver and then back again. But however, here in this case, data length or bits in length or frames length is given. That means, however, the system sends only 1000 bits here. Then we can say that the link utilization is only this 1000 bits divided by this capacity or bandwidth delay product 20,000, that is 5%. And for this reason, that means here link utility is only 5%. For this reason, for a link with high bandwidth, this is the capacity. For a link with a high bandwidth or long delay, the use of stop and wait ARQ wastes the capacity of the link. So this protocol is not suitable for high bandwidth links. Then we will take next protocol example. What is the utilization percentage of the link in the previous example? If you have a protocol that can send up to 15 frames before stopping and worrying about the acknowledgement. Here, we know that the bandwidth delay product is still 20,000 bits. The system can send up to 15 frames or 15,000 bits during the round trip. This means the utilization is 15,000 divided by 20,000, that is the 75%. Of course, if there are damaged frames, the utilization percentage is much less because frames have to be resent. So here, if here number of frames transmitted, the link utilization goes on increasing. So this is the efficiency concept of the ARQ protocol, that is stop and wait ARQ protocol. Thank you.